Okay, I'm here with Chris Jeffrey, international quarterback, played in a ton of different countries, I believe 5 countries already, had a ton of success overseas. Chris, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me, man. How you doing?
I'm great. So let's start with your sports background, your career from the very beginning. What sports were you into? What was kind of the beginning of all this?
Man, I was actually blessed to be actually born into the game through my dad, whom was a college Division I football coach at Howard University and Texas Southern University, two Division I AA schools that actually blessed me to be able to grow up through the game a little bit and grasp the passion that I do have for it today. Like I was playing basketball and stuff as I was growing up, but just being around the football atmosphere, being around the college players, meetings, just the game, like I didn't have no choice but to just grasp it as I was around it. But ever since then, I just always knew what I wanted to do. If it was just playing college football, even beyond just being a coach, it's like that's just what I grasped of just growing up through it, and I'm still riding through it right now.
What was your dad's style? If you had to describe your dad as a coach, what was his coaching style when you saw him growing up?
I mean, he's probably my toughest critic and stuff like that, really. It's just like, just never being satisfied, man. Like, it's always work to do. Like, you can never be just complete in one area. Like, you can always grow and progress in areas that you may think you're just always, just got everything intact at, but it's always never stands, like, just never staying satisfied.
Was he an offensive coach, defensive coach? What kind of
Yeah, he coached
mindset?
wide receivers.
Wide receivers.
Wide receiver, yeah. You got a heavy offensive mind. Did offensive coordinator in high school and stuff. He's coaching high school and basketball and football now, but he has that high IQ and that offensive knowledge. So that's where I
So
get a
when you
lot of my IQ from.
when you first got started, was it straight to quarterback, or you did a little bit of everything?
When I first started playing, my first 2 years, I actually played DB, but I always could throw the ball. So it was just like when I started playing, I got out there playing DB, but just like every day being around my dad, being at practices and stuff, I'm just throwing the ball, catching the ball. And then it just got into that habit of just having that natural ability to just be a fluid thrower. And it was just like, it was one day I remember at practice, they was asking people to try out, like just to come and throw them. And it was like, I went over there, threw a couple times, and it was sweet riddance after that. Like I never looked back. Like I mean, in college and stuff, I had got dealt with some little opportunities to play wide receiver, just beyond me being my stature as a short quarterback. So going against a stereotype, if you ain't 6'1" or 6'2" or taller, you're not gonna really get too many opportunities sometimes, depending on situations that you may be in or how they address themselves. But you know, I live and die and knowing just like I can play this position no matter the height, just through the way I
It's
prepared
so
and the
high
way I
school.
grew up.
High school, you were when you going into high school, you're a quarterback,
Yeah, I played
solely
quarterback my whole
quarterback.
life. Yeah, my whole
Yep.
life.
So how did you do middle school, high school? Kind of take us through that journey, how your career kind of went.
Uh, well, middle school to high school it wasn't so rocky, but it was rocky because I was actually doing a lot of traveling and moving around just due to my dad being a college coach. So they were going through their little coaching carousels at a certain time when I was actually leaving elementary school to go to middle school and start playing junior high ball and just graduating from like playing little league and all like the boys and girls club. But like when we go to Texas, it's like I went out there and it was a whole different atmosphere having to play in high school, thinking that I was gonna actually get to play another year like maybe development, but in a sense, like going out there, I ended up playing 2 years in middle school in Houston. And then my first 2 years of high school, my freshman and sophomore year at Bel Air, Texas. But then like things happened with the coaching carousel again, and my dad and them had to get ready to move. So I had the big decision of do I stay, do I leave, do I transfer, do I go wherever my dad go, or do I stay because like I'm kind of established in the school I'm in already. But it was just like even in the deal that I was in, I was like there was a lot of different quarterback carousel things going on in the situation I was in too. So it was just like maybe if I did leave, I might be walking into a better situation. And I actually did actually taking the decision to leave and actually come home back to DC with my dad, like where I'm from, and finish my 2 years at Friendship Collegiate Academy, where I started like my last 2 years, and then went on to go to school. But then it's like I never played in school. Like my after graduating and signing and committing to Bowie State, like I never qualified actually coming out. So I was never able to obtain my eligibility back. So that required me to have to go to JUCO, junior college, which where I went to Fullerton College in California, Orange County. Where I went there for 2 years, and it's just like as you asked me what it like this through the position change and stuff like that. You know, certain times when you get put in and like I mean, I guess like you never know sometimes when you're in school, you never know what type of offense you're gonna deal with. You never know what type of coach or staff that may look at your play style abilities to suit them in a certain way. That's just like certain people might, oh yeah, Ty, you can play quarterback, Chris, you can play quarterback, but the other guys they want to use us as athletes just because we use our feet a lot and blah blah blah. When it's just like, sometimes if you want to be on the field and you're a football player, you do what you gotta do to get on the field. And during my time in JUCO, I almost did take that route to go to wide receiver, just thinking that might be the best for me down in the like going along with my future, because it's just like it's not so many short quarterbacks like just being successful or having that opportunity to really contend to be like a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or anything like that. But it's just like on the outer tip of that is so much different politics and stereotype that goes into that because it's a lot of Kyler Murrays out here. It's a lot of Drew Brees. It's a lot of Russell Wilson. Me and you are one of them. Like we both short quarterbacks. We're both short stature quarterbacks, but it's just like we're still being able to allow our abilities to play on higher and higher levels, which really they say we can't. Like it don't
Yeah.
matter as long as this as different understandings that help me. And I mean, everybody's not just blessed and grateful to have different like situations as I did, but it's just like me, I've been in the college meeting since I was 10 years old, learning cover zero, cover one, two, three, four. Like I'm in the back seat in the car, my dad asked me what we do against cover two, what you got against cover three, what you got against middle of the field close. Like I'm 10 years old learning stuff like that rather than like some you don't learn that until you're 18, but it's just like that helps me take my game to a whole higher level in a
Do you
lot of
think it
sense.
was more for your skill set, so your speed, your athleticism, like you could be a running back, receiver, DB, whatever that you weren't, kind of getting passed over in some of those things, or just because they were trying to stick to the stereotype more?
I think it was
On
basically
both.
just on my size because it's like I mean for me like yeah sometimes if you look at my tape and here and there you might see me running and everything like that, but like that's not like my strong suit. Like I don't depend on running. Some dual threat people depend on run before pass. Like I could sit and pass before I run. Even beyond that, I'm not 6'5". Like I have an understanding with the passing lane, with the defense doing. So when you do have that type of ability to have that against like with you, like you're giving yourself ability to be successful on the field no matter what you look like. That's like for somebody like me when I go to camps, you go to them college camps, 1 day camps, even trials or anything. Shoot, I'm not going to just turn 6'5" tomorrow. So I know I'm 6 feet, but I know everybody else going to be there 6'2", 6'3", and bigger. But it's just like, even in them aspects, like I'm making the same passes, the same velocity, same speed at the same time. And as this 6'5" guy, that's the stereotype. But then it's just like, when we walk in the room, if you see Tom Brady and you see Russell Wilson, you probably gonna pick Tom Brady, not knowing none of their stats, none of their background, just looking. Like you gonna
Yeah,
take that big guy with that little guy. Like you
yeah,
put anybody in there, like and you put us in the room, like we not gonna get that deal. And that's just like the grateful thing that I'm just so blessed to be able to stumble across Europe because it's just like Europe doesn't like really they don't shape you for like the person who you look like. They look for the person and like what you could do for us and help how we could benefit each other in this whatever you have to offer. Like we would love for you to just bless us and bring that with us. But it's just like, in the sense of like you trying to get into the league, like man, oh, you're not 6 feet, so you can't play. But damn, I
Yeah.
might be the best quarterback in the world, just with the opportunity. But it's just off that little small politics is like what takes away your opportunity. And that's just like something I was dealing with in junior college. Like just I was getting labeled as a runner. So they just, sometimes it's being as a quarterback, it's five of us, three of us, we all might have three different risk coaches. My risk coach was a little different than others, just like you just structured me as that wildcat guy, not even giving me the ability to obtain that title of, oh, he's a good passer. He can pass the ball. But, you then a school come in.
Does it almost feel like it handcuffs you to not want to use your gifts because you want to also just be proven the opposite? So you're almost like playing
Exactly.
against yourself rather than
Exactly.
just
So it's
building
like when
into
you come
everything.
in, it's like when you come in now, he's just an athlete. Look, it's there. He's just showing he's the athlete, but you're not even giving me a chance to throw the ball when I could probably throw the ball better than our two starters. But
Yeah.
then it's just all about at the same time, like even for me, even though I was going through that, at the end of the day, I still knew like I wanted to play quarterback. I wanted to find a way just to get any type of opportunity just to showcase myself and showcase my abilities, just to allow me to just continue shooting, establishing my dream and chasing my dream and just playing ball through. So it was just like after that junior college stuff, I almost stopped playing football because it's just like I got like stuck in a lot of the different like mental just streams of things. This and you being so far away from home, like being from Washington D.C. to California, that's both sides of the maps and stuff like that. And it was just like, man, it was one day. I think it was almost around this time, bro, 2016, man. I was just surfing the web and Euro players came across my screen and I didn't think it was real, bro. I made an account, put my whole bio in there, any film I had, bro, and man, it was all God's work after that. Like things, people start writing back. I'm like, are they serious? Like, are they? And it's even like with Serbia. I'm like, man, I don't care about no money, man. I just need an opportunity to prove myself and show that I could play ball. And just like what I learned about all that, if you ball, that next place is gonna call. Like, and if
Yeah.
you ball, so everybody, you gonna get seen. That's just like I knew about you before we became friends on Facebook or and Instagram and stuff. Like the word get out. Like it's out when you balling or wherever you at. So it's just
How
like
was that
man,
first season in Serbia?
it was awesome, man. It was actually just like
What club was it?
I actually played for Novi Sad Dukes. They're considered the Wild Dogs now.
Yep.
They actually they had took a year off and then came back dealing with the management issues, I believe. But we actually went to the Serbian Bowl and we actually lost to the Wild Boars 22-16. Um, we ended up winning the CEFL Bowl against
Were
a
you
team
coaching the offense?
when I was in Serbia.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually called the offense and built the offense. Yeah, while I was there.
So
That was a
how'd you
cool
find all
experience.
that? Finally getting to kind of build your own offense and like all the
Man,
plays
just
you
like
do you like?
I tell guys is I mean, this as a real QB, bro, like that's a lot of pressure, bro. It's a lot of pressure. Like, I mean, it's good pressure in a lot of different senses when other things are structured, but like I was the only offensive coach. And like I had to structure the offense, practice, just game plan, just aligning the personnel, even make sure I insert myself. Like I'm the quarterback, I'm calling the plays, but like I'm worried about the whole team, but forgetting I got a quarterback that can do a lot of things. But it's just
Yeah.
like I forgot about myself and things. That's what I'm saying. Like just being real and being able to acknowledge and address different things. Like it was a lot of pressure, bro. Like I did love the opportunity and just the experience that I grasped and being able to do that. I mean, shit, we went to the Serbian Bowl. Like God willing, we know we wanted to win it, but it's just like what we established and what we did to get to where we did was still an awesome experience and an awesome time that like I'm very grateful of even to have that opportunity. Just like I wouldn't be where I am today without that opportunity coming from Serbia. Like Serbia was the kickoff, and that's what like the whole
How
thing
was it
about Europe
trying to
is.
compete with like a Wild Boars? That's a like a top level or top level club. So carrying your club to try to get to that level. How was it
Yeah,
trying to get there?
I mean, you could tell that like it was a definitely a different like like this in the landscape of balance and to structures of how like one club was a little further on than the other or just more invested in than the other. You know how it is in Europe. Like if you don't have that proper backing, sometimes you can't do everything to your wanting. So it was like they were able to bring in more European players other than the American players that they had already and stuff like that. But it's just like even on the outer scales of like when you're really trying to like create an organization and like take your ranks up. I mean that's a organization that you definitely will want to try to like blend from and take like and what can we do somewhere similar that they doing or what are they doing that we're not doing that's allowing them to get there. But it was just even in the outer sense of things, it's like one thing that I got from the Wild Boys, they're very consistent and like they're true in what they're doing. Like they're not arrogant. They know that they're still growing and developing just as much as that they're even though they're winning so much. It's just like man, it's definitely a well structured program that is just it's even like when I saw them like after we lost them, I was just like, man, like that's something that you'll want to be a part of. Not even the fact that like you just lost to them and stuff like that, but even going down the line, it's just like, man, if 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 it came about, that'll be an organization that I definitely it's not just saying nothing about my organization, but it was just like, just when you holding different things to certain standards and you able to see that and not play and also play against it and just know people who's played in and like inside of that organization and so on. Like you see the different versions and to what like organizations really want to be.
So how was your adjustment from, so you're from DC, from went over to West Coast. How was it to live in overseas in Europe and Serbia specifically?
I mean,
Big jump.
I think it was pretty easy for me like just moving and stuff because I was just also just so used to just moving around and move going place to place around even my dad just traveling and stuff like that. So getting like having homesick feels and stuff like that sometimes really didn't hit me as like it had hit some. It's like man, like certain people never been away from home for a certain amount of time. Like I'm used to going place to place to place or just being there at a certain amount of time. So it's just like for me, it was just another sense of excitement and being able to just adapting to another place, adapting to a new world, just adjusting to a new culture, and just had that whole this culture shock of and just knowing that I'm about to be at this place for 6 months and I'm able to do what I love to do. So it's just like, man, you could see whatever you say. I mean, see whatever you see, like from the outside looking in, when you see anything about Europe, it's all about what we see on TV or what we look up or what they tell us or what they show us. But it's like when you really get there, it's like, man, like I never want to go back. Like this is beautiful. Like it's just a great time. It's a whole different atmosphere, a whole different way of living. Like it's like a worry free. It's not like a just so pure worry free now, but it's a good way of living. It's a comfortable sense that it just allow you to just breathe and just usan live out.
Yeah, exactly. So how did you go from Serbia then to Finland? What led to Finland and the club there?
Well, actually, with that happened, it was a funny situation. After we actually got done with the Serbian Bowl, the Javaskala team had hit me up, and this is when I was still fresh into knowing this new about the whole ins and outs about Europe and stuff like that, which I did know I still wanted to play like after Serbia because you know how sometimes certain leagues we only play 6 to 8 games. So it's just like
Yeah.
that's like a half a season. So we still got a lot of other season in us. So it was like they called, and I actually didn't like. It's like the first time I just wasn't too sure. So I was like, oh nah, I'm gonna just go back to America. And then I actually went to America for about 2 days, and they called me back. They was like, man, we made the playoffs. Like we just needed quarterback to finish our season, and blah blah blah. I'm just like, what's the worst could be for that? Like I'll play 4 games, go enjoy another country, get to see another country, and it was a great time. I actually love Finland, man. Like we didn't get to do what we wanted to do, as far as team wise and establishing what we wanted to do, but as far as the experience and just having that opportunity, it was great. Got to meet a bunch of great people and be in a bunch like in a great spot that it was so different. Like Finland is way different than everywhere else in the world that doesn't get dark sometime and then it just stays dark and it's like I gotta sleep with flashbacks in my window just to have some darkness in my room. It was crazy.
So then from there, did you come back to America after that season before going to Poland, or what happened then?
Yeah, I came back to America and then I just think I worked for a little while and just waited to the next spot because I knew that's the thing about me. I was just like once I did obtain that Serbia offer, I knew I just wanted to play and get seen by bigger places and bigger organizations to just make my opportunity better off and getting just better opportunities American stateside or just even if it's bigger organizations in Europe. So it was just like my whole deal was just to go, go, go. And then once I did gain like the understanding of how things work a little bit, dealing with teams and start talking to teams myself, I'm like, all right, I got to start getting closer to these bigger leagues and showcasing my abilities and just show what I'm made of. Like if I could play, like it's gonna show in these leagues. If they consider this the best league, let me try to get in this league. And that's all I was trying to do as far as like with Poland, because sometimes you talk to some other teams and it's like, oh, you don't. They look at your credentials or they look at different things. It's like, oh, you maybe not be what we're looking for. If you show us a little bit more, you gain a little bit more experience in Europe, maybe we'll come back and talk to you, and that's fine too. So it was just like I got the Poland, like I got in talks with the Poland team, the Warsaw Eagles, and it was just like dealing with the situation or what they was offering me, even playing for an American coach. I think that's a good little benefit for some people, especially quarterbacks sometimes, especially going into Europe. If you could play with an American coach and an American coach that has some type of like establishment, just being there or just in the coaching field, like I think that's a great benefit, and it's just being able to be along with Coach Kurt, who did pass away, like rest his soul. Like I think if without me going definitely to Poland, like I wouldn't have been able to achieve certain things beyond that because like Coach Kurt didn't deal with European. I mean, he didn't deal with the Europe like import like dealings how everybody else will. That's just like how you see that jersey behind me, number one. Like I wore number one everywhere I did, but I didn't wear number one in Poland. Like I didn't get that jersey until we won the championship. And like as soon as I walked in, he was like, "Man, you're not wearing number one." Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, "Dang, like, it's like it's cool, it's a number, but it's just like he had his own standard and his own mantra, the way he did things. Like I never let anybody wear number one. I don't want anybody to think they're beyond or over, no matter who they are. I'm like, I understand that, I respect that, but then it's just like it's other characteristics that he was really like making us just see and just he getting certain things out of you that another coach will probably just overshadow or just let go bypass just because you supposed to be who you are. Oh, you want MVP, so it's okay. We're not gonna worry about that. But it's just like on the outer tip, I broke my foot on the first game. First game, my Poland, my first game against I think it was Hazari. First game, I'm like, man, like what's like what's like can't be happening to me right now because if you get hurt, they gonna send you home. Sometimes they might. help you get like recovered or anything. But I'm just like, man, I'm done. I'm thinking I'm gonna just come out of the game, and it's just over. I limped to the sideline, and he told me, bro, turn around. You're not coming out. And I just had to check it real quick. I'm like, man, what do you mean? Like my foot dang near hanging. Like I was one ligament like away from a pure break. It's just like that man made me stay in that game, which we did end up coming back and winning that game. But it was just like off of that, like I gathered so much and just learned so much of even beyond myself and about myself, just getting through different things. It was just like, man, like I'm glad I came to this place, because if I didn't come to this place, I probably would have went somewhere else, and like some things probably could have got the best of me, and like I don't know what position I'd be in, but it's just in the fact of even being trying to get myself on that higher level to say getting to them higher leagues, just him being a high level coach and everything that he had already established and came from. I'm like, all right, if I play for somebody like that, or if I have some success in his type of system, I know that can help me grow just going through. And we end up winning the Polish championship, going undefeated. And that was actually the last championship he ever won. Like I was actually just happy to be able to be a part of that and just get that done for him. But it was all I was seeking, man. Just trying to play on a high level, seek high level coaching, just playing a high level organization, just as you said, like with the Wild Boys. Like that's an organization that you know that you'll want to play for, that you want to seek through. Just seeing them be able to keep playing, because in that game they was losing 16-0. We was winning 16-0, and then it's just like they came all the way back and scored 22 unanswered. But then it's
Yeah.
just like that never left me. Like just seeing how class how this how the class act they was, and it wasn't like, some people win and it's just like they act like they never won before. Like when they won, like it was just well respected. Like, and I was just like, damn, like I really gotta give my hats off to that. Sometimes, you could be bitter when you lose games, do different things, but it was like, man, but I never forgot that. Like I lost that game and I was the MVP of that league. And I was
Yeah.
supposed to get my trophy like right after the game, right before they gave them their trophy. But I couldn't even come out there. I just like I was so sick, but just I was just watching them the whole time, sitting right in the tunnel. Like I walked to the tunnel crying. You know how it goes sometimes. And I'm just sitting there just watching them outside of the tunnel. And then I had to come back out because it was like I had to come get my trophy. I didn't want the trophy. Like even though I won MVP in 3 of the countries that I've been in, I don't care about that. Like winning that one championship in Poland, that's all that matters to me. Like, and winning more of them.
So
And that's
from
the only
there, you did
reason.
another step up to Germany. So
Yeah.
how that whole thing land? So you've won. You've taken over Poland. You guys had a best season, dominated everyone new in Europe. Then you head off to Germany. What happened there?
And just like just chasing the next level, chasing the higher competition, chasing the best competition, and just if you consider yourself, you want to play against the best, and it's just like Germany is considered as the best, really. GFL 1, GFL 2, highly sophisticated league, and it's just like, all right, if they say this is that, I need to find a way to get an opportunity to showcase myself in this league. And the opportunity did show itself, and it was luckily like the team was actually trying to go GFL 1. So, when teams go like that, they're really structuring their team to bring in a bunch of players and have coaching and just really try to put in together the proper things to obtain
Did you
that
think there
that
was a big
elevation.
difference? Did you think there was a big difference between those four countries, Poland, Finland, Serbia, and Germany?
Definitely, definitely.
You
I
could see
think
the
you definitely could see the difference as far as this, I would say club wise, and then as far as just play type development, even through certain players. This is like in Serbia, I would say actually play with two of the best Europeans in the world right now. Like my boy Zet, he actually now plays for one of the best teams in Europe, the Unicorns. He wears number 1 for them. And like just playing with him, like I remember telling him before he even uh got the opportunity to even leave Serbia and get in the GFL. I'm like, bro, you need to leave this place because national players, the national people in their country don't get paid. So it's like they have to leave the other countries. They got to go to the other countries to get paid. So I'm like, bro, you need to leave here, bro. Like, you're really good, bro. Like, you're playing out here like an American. Like, it's too easy. And it's just like, that's what I'm saying. Even for him doing that, that will really show where your level of talent really is. And for him to be a Serbian and go start free safety on a GFL one team that most teams are probably bringing a European or American, like a real, like not even saying like a real European, but an American that has some
Yeah.
different ties like that. Is this how a game goes? There's no disrespect to anyone or anything like that, but it's just like it's just balls off the wall. Like some players are just good, but it's just like in Serbia, you could just tell it was just more player, not like no team, like real development. Like, but as far as Finland, you can start to see the different structure of the things go. Like my two games in Finland that I played were against the two Wolverines and the Steelers, Kuopio and then Helsinki. And then it's just like, man, like can you hear me?
Yep. You're good.
It was just like playing against those guys. I mean, I just seen I just was comfortable telling people about like this, but it was like I witnessed the worst game I've ever seen in my life. Like I was a part of the team. I wasn't able to play at the time, but seeing 90 points scored with the other team not scoring zero was crazy. But then that just shows you in a different sense of like just malevolence and different things. It's just like, come on now. If a team's getting beat 90 to nothing in American football in America, something's wrong, you know.
Yeah.
But that was done with probably 10 or plus 10 plus imports against no imports. Against a team just full of like Finland players that's just starting to learn football. But then as you steady go, you like, oh, they still like on a lower end of developing like their whole full country scale rather than like you look at Austria. Like their whole football is complete. They have academies out of all their little teams and all their areas. So it's a reason that like their players are like well developed, no matter if they playing in the second league and not playing in the AF1 or things like that. But then you go to Germany. Germany got a way different structure scale because like now you get more American coaches coming there. Just in even the stature of the way the lead is more kind of like it's kind of pro driven. So we played a 16 game, got the preseason training camp, all that different things like that. It allows you to be more intact as a player, even intact through your development and things like that, because it's more of a seriousness that goes into like, all right, once the Poland players play, like they might not work out until the couple months before the season that they know. But the Germany boys is gonna be like intact. It's the reason that they on top, but it's like as far as even the teams, like you can just see the full structure, just knowing that the even the playing field is a little more balanced in a sense, but it's just like depending on what type of Americans you do have behind them and the type of coaching that's been there for the stipulation of time. Sometimes depends on the things, but through the four places that I've been, like the competition did like increase every time. So it was not like it ever decreased it, but it's even at the same time, even to now, like all of it is still developing and stuff. So like the competition is just increasing as we speak.
How'd you guys do, Griffins, when you were in Germany? What was your kind of record like?
I think we finished 8-6. Yeah, we didn't. We just had like we was on set to be in contention with the Elmshorn team, but then like this off the field thing started hitting our club like a bunch of different ways, losing our starting running back who was the leading rusher of the GFL at the time. We had to wait for another running back to come in. Um, was dealing with a lot of injuries. I end up like not being able to play like what 3 out of the last 5 games. End up only playing like the last game, and it just messed us up a little bit. I think we finished like 8-6 maybe, but Like we finished the season out the right way, just finishing winning and just doing as you can as a team like that. Sometimes you'll want to finish number 1 and everything like that, even though into the fact it's like you're not playing for no championship, but you playing for that position to play up to move up. So it's just like not being in essence, that's like one of the only reasons you go there beyond like the fact of like you just playing. Like if you're gonna go GFL two, if you're not just looking to get an opportunity, you looking to help that team go GFL one and make that next step.
Then then you headed to Mexico. So what's up with Mexico? Kind of a new thing that kind of seemed to take off this year. Seemed huge,
I
big, right?
mean, the thing about what people who don't know about Mexico, Mexico has been like really on like a high stream of just excelling, developing, and everything. Like they've had Ocho Cinco, Tim Tebow, a bunch of guys play in this league. Like not so full, like in the full season, but they've played in half a season, obtained like teams that obtained their contracts and stuff like that. But I went to Mexico because just like I'm saying, seeking that next level, seeking that higher opportunity. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with how the CFL has been trying to partner around with a lot of the countries and a lot of the federations and stuff like that. And the CFL actually really did have a peer partnership with the Mexico League, the LFA and stuff, and they had their connection with allowing players to come up and down and be a little feeder stream for teams and stuff like that, or just being able to have that other access to be able to get a streamline of players and creating that diversity. They trying to open up the line of bringing in more Europeans, just opening up that game so they can expand their whole federation anyway. They only have 8 teams. So it's just like they were looking to expand, not even just looking to expand, but it's just like me. I know I wanted to still, my dreams was always to play in the NFL, but still pursue my dreams on a high level. So it's like, all right, if I ain't getting to the NFL, what's next? CFL, Arena, Europe. If I gotta do Europe until then, it is what it is. So it's just like now I got an opportunity to play in front of CFL people, play in front of play with play with the Mexican guys who are considered, and that's another thing about with Mexico. Mexico and Europe are two totally different places that like frown upon each other. And it's just
Mm.
like Mexico considers Europe, oh, Europe is this Europe, unless they just know you came from somewhere and you just killed it. Because, in Europe, they don't play college football, don't have high school football. In Mexico, they have high school football, college football, and yet alone, they actually almost won the world game against us just most recently, almost, or even played against Japan or something like that. But the football is very high level out there, and just me actually having a buddy that actually did play there before, and I had a good little eye view of what was going on out there, and just looking to seek an opportunity. That was just like I'm saying, I'm seeking an opportunity just to like yet again just continue to showcase my abilities, like this showcase this more like since the giving gain more opportunity because I didn't have my full college route the way I wanted to. So when I'm getting compared against all these other guys, they got college in Europe, but then I just got Europe and a couple college games. But then it's just like how the politics of the stereotype and the politics and just how they go with it. And it's just I'm just trying to find my line to have everything shake up into where it's just like, it ain't the fact of like, oh, you can't worry about what they're gonna think about this and think about that, but like in the outer senses of knowing how things go. At the end of the day, it's just like, all right, what's the deal with Chris and what's the deal with Ty? Like what Chris got, what Ty don't got. Or what's Chris up and what Ty like, and then it's always going in that little gaugy scale. So it's like trying to do whatever you can do to get the most things like with you, rather
Okay.
than against you. Cause it's like I'm already 5'10". I was 5'10" starting. Now I'm just pushing 6 feet. So it's just like, you still against the 8 ball. So it's like that's gonna be the first thing they throw out there. Like when you gonna throw out the height Then it's like, oh, he didn't go to college. Oh, like I didn't win three, whatever you say you won. Like, but it's oh, he only played in Poland. Okay, that's why I went to Germany. Okay, he did this. That's how to finish top five, whatever you want, in any of the quarterback thing in Germany. Oh, blase, blase. All right, I'm gonna go to this CFL, LFA, mixture league, whatever. Like, what's next? And that's what I'm saying. Even now, it's just like I'm still seeking this to like stake that claim and showcase my like disabilities even this through because it's like I'm never gonna get bigger. Just like I say, I'm never gonna get bigger. So I'm always gonna be that short quarterback. So
How many Americans were on the team in Mexico, kind of per team?
uh the thing about Mexico, it was like it was actually mixed with Canadians. So it was about 4 Americans, 4 Canadians, or it can vary. Like in the other Mexico league, they had about 14 Americans on their team.
Yeah.
In the Mexico League, the one that was under us, the family, they actually had about 10 to 12 to
How'd you like
14.
life in Mexico?
Man, it was actually good, man. It was awesome, man. It was pretty more smooth than expected. And that's why I say when you get that outside view, you get the smoke and mirrors of what they want to see. You think like, Mexico is Mexico in certain parts where people know. Like, don't get me wrong now, but it was nothing but love. It was a warm, just it's a compassionate place. Like they show you so much love. They want you to feel like you're home. Like just like they just made you feel. It's not even like it's just saying make you feel safe and just make you able to just live in them places. Even the fact of like it's a cultural shock, and then it's even different from Mexico and Europe. People speak English on a higher just on a higher note in Europe, even though that's not their language. But in Mexico, they don't speak it at all. Like it
Yeah.
was some of my teammates who didn't know a lick of English. Like even some of my linemen, they lick. What he say? I'm like, dang, my Europeans, they don't know how to say it, but they know what I'm saying. But it was just like, man, but that was a different learning curve too. That was good to adjust because you start to learn certain things. So I'm starting to say some of the plays in Spanish, or I'm trying to remember how to
Yeah.
say certain numbers in Spanish just so they can see this. So I definitely try to, uh, I try to just call the blocking scheme out. I try to call whatever we was blocking right there in Spanish, so they'd be good with that because the receivers we was good on communication how we was, but whatever way the blocking scheme was. I was like, all
The
right, I'm gonna
Escrita,
remember
Dorita.
Spanish. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that's what we
hard,
had.
man.
Escrita protection and Dorita protection and Verde.
Man, it
Verde.
was hip derecha. I'm like, oh man, what's that? Hip right or hip left? Like, it was cool
Yeah.
though, man.
Done
I
that one.
definitely love the opportunity to go back if I could.
Yeah. So what was your favorite place of the five spots so far? What kind of stands out as your number one? Just as far as a great time, great family, the club you felt most connected with.
Man, it gotta be them people behind me, man. It gotta be the Warsaw Eagles, bro. Like, that was like one of the times in my life, bro. It was a time that I was able to just acknowledge different things as a man, as a person, beyond a football player, and yet alone as a football player, being able to win my first championship, bro, like my real first championship, and just really be a part of that, and just knowing what it took to get there, and the support and everything that the club did give me, because as I told you, I broke my foot. And that can put you in a lot of bad places sometimes, even especially as a quarterback. That limits us. So like just me being able to still play through that, not sitting out a game at all, and just like continuing through that, man. I was just like, damn, it's gonna never be like that's gonna be a never forgetful feeling. Cause it's like I wouldn't even been able to do any of this if they didn't give me the opportunity to just be playing ball and do what I love.
If I had
So
to
it's
say
just
who are your best or your favorite two or three, I'll leave it up to you. Dealer's choice receivers you've had overseas. Who are your guys you could go to?
my dogs, man. My dogs, I definitely go like off top. I go my man CJ in Germany. I go my man Pomlik from Poland. Uh, my boy Teach from Serbia and Lil Andre. Man, who was in Finland with me? My little man Walter. Like just one more. Can't forget about my boy Oleg and me and Spichko from Poland. And then man, I didn't have some dogs ever see in Europe, man. That's the crazy thing about it. And that's just how you say about this the talent. Oh, it's a guy
Yeah.
from Europe though, from Belgium, Ruben. He pretty good. Man.
So as
I
far as
mean,
non-American guys, who's the first one that you said there, and or one that
I
comes to
think I
mind?
mean nobody on it is American except CJ is Australian American, so that's the only one. Everybody else is Serbian, Polish, and Ruben is Belgium.
Yeah, they just got onto they just talent, talent
Like them
overseas.
dudes
Nobody
are
knows.
like them dudes are dogs, bro. Like they can really play the position, bro, and it's sweet. And I'm just like, man,
How have
I'm
you grown your scheme and your playbook as you've continued to be out here? And what have you kind of started leaning towards and knowledge,
I mean,
building?
honestly, it's just like, sometimes dealing with that, you never know like fully how your personnel is going to be, and like even being able to install and implement certain things even through how practices go, practicing twice a week, sometimes not one or three, in certain places is different. But even having your players being able to obtain the knowledge of what you're trying to teach and what you're doing is also different. This is like when I got into Serbia, I didn't want to do too much sophisticated things. It's because it's just like you got to understand your personnel before you can do anything like that. So it's like I definitely just keep it simple. We keep some inside zone power. We'll definitely keep some perimeter things so people they can't just try to load up the box on us. They still gotta honor and respect what's going on outside these hashes and things like that. But then it's just like at the same time, if you know your personnel is against you and stuff like that, still having that inside zone and power and stuff like that, you can never go against that like that. You can never really teach away from that if you're gonna run anything. Power and zone will be some of the main keys you can always teach anybody, like no matter the size of the lineman sometimes. Dealing on the power pool and things like that, you might be limited. But just as far as running zone, outside zones and stuff like that, like you can use all that to your advantage. And that's all I see out there. You gotta use your personnel to your advantage. So it's just like you can't sit back there and think you're gonna run out formation with linemen that's 200 pounds, you know.
Yeah. What's your craziest story of something that's happened? Craziest one,
Man,
first one that comes to mind of like I was here and then this happened, and that.
uh shoot, man, I think my craziest thing was going to a festival, bro. That was the craziest time of my life. I never thought like going to an outside party like that with stages and just how the
What country was
atmosphere
this in?
was. Huh?
What country was that in?
Uh, it was in Serbia. It was Exit
Oh,
Festival. It was right after we won the championship, bro. Like everybody from Serbia, everybody from over the world, any artist, music genre, everybody supposedly goes to that. And it's like it was like the other festival on top of the one that's like on Croatia. Like the Croatian one's supposed to be bigger than that or something, but like that was the most epic. It was epic, bro. Like I was like, my God. Like we didn't. All we did was sit outside the whole night, bro, and like
yeah.
just listen to music, bro, and just have a good time, bro. Like going stage to stage. And I'm just like, man, I had the time of my life. Like the most, like it's just crazy because you see so much like this crazy stuff out there, bro. Man.
So what's next for you? What are your future goals? This is where you've got to now. You're still real young. Still got lots of football left. What's next?
Uh, right now, man, I'm trying to let this pandemic do what it's trying to do so I can get back into the proper patterns and of trying to get back to Europe or just see what type of opportunity is going to address itself. But really, right now, it's daily. I actually been dealing with some teams in Europe right now. It's just on the ropes of like who's going to play. Will you play? Like, what's going to happen if we do play? When can I come? Like, just in those stages like that. But off of that, I've just been starting to create my business, man. Start training some kids. Start my own sports performance. I got offered a coaching job that I just took through the pandemic until like I hear anything back from Europe or wherever it may be. And just use my ability still to a proper way that I can is just giving back to kids where I can and training and staying ready.
Yeah, so speak more on that your brand and your performance. Like what is all that? What do you have going on?
It's actually called like what they gonna say. It's actually like a movement. It's a lifestyle brand. It's it's a lot. Like I have a lot of avenues created through, but it's basically this. It's a motivational. It's a motivational point that I actually created. Like growing up, I always lived through like the critic and somebody's opinion, and it affected me in a lot of ways. It's always like, dang, he said that to me, and it affected me a whole lot of ways, even as far as football, personal life, real life, anything. And it's just like I just got to a point. It's like, fuck what somebody gonna say. But it's just like, when you hear what they gonna say, it's like they could say whatever they want. Like when I won the championship, oh, I wasn't supposed to be playing football. Like, oh, he not gonna go out there and do good. He ain't play college football. Like, what they gonna say? Like, I won MVP and I'm still going. Like, oh, he not gonna do this. Go to the next place. Go do the same thing. It's not just saying like, oh, you're just doing it and that, but it's just in a way of moving and you living beyond the critic. You living beyond the opinion. Like it's just growing in a different motivation and confidence for yourself just to live on beyond. Because it's like somebody's always going to talk. You had a free speech to say whatever you want. So something's always going to be said. So it's just like for me, like what they going to say, like keep going. Don't stop.
That's great. And last one, where do you think football's headed in Europe? What do you think kind of your future projections of what'll happen with Europe and football in general, how it'll grow?
As far as like country wise or as far as like with the new stuff that's popping around.
Just kind of everything. Yeah, everything. Your thoughts.
Man, I feel as far as like in certain countries, certain countries have the ability to do whatever they want to do. So, you know, I think if certain country, and then I know at the same time with Finland and some of those other countries being able to get through their seasons the way they did, that make them other countries like, all right, well, shit, I think we should try to just go ahead and push it through. You know, we go through the guidelines, we have precautionary measures and stuff like that, but you either losing money or you just gonna let it sit and you just gonna try to have the risk of it. And that's what I'm saying. Even dealing with some of these teams, like, all right, y'all just talking to me and reaching out and stuff, but like, what if I say yes? Are y'all gonna play? And then I might miss out on somebody else that's gonna play. So it's
Okay.
just like, man, I think if they had, it's just weird for me. I don't think it's gonna be a lot of more iffiness, just like it was this past season. Like certain people gonna play, certain people think they're gonna play and they're not gonna play. I think Germany is gonna find a way to play because like they losing out on too much, and then with that new league coming, like it's gonna get like stuff real shaky. But it's as far as like some of them other leagues that usually pick up in January and stuff like I'm I expect them to play because I don't think they really went into no deep phases like how they talking that they trying to do in America and stuff like that. But the only thing is allowing us over there. But it's just
Yeah.
like how I tell a team, I'll go through whatever I got to do to get over there. Quarantine ain't nothing but this. Like sit in the house. If I gotta sit in the house for 10 days to get over there, I would do it, bro. And it's just like I'm not willing to just let that go by for not getting no deal. So I'm like, man, whatever y'all gonna do, I will come and we will sit. If y'all know y'all gonna play, like let's make it happen. Cause I was supposed to go to Finland, and then things that just fell off with that, just like they couldn't get me over there and all that. So I'm just like, all right, I understand. I'm not gonna go through the different pressures, but at the same time, I was really willing to go through that because it was in the early stage of pandemic, so you didn't want to try to you didn't know what was happening. So it's like you had to press the issue. But it's like now, like I'll press the issue. The pandemic is what the pandemic is. Like, don't get me wrong, people feel how they feel. Like it's serious. Like I still take all the precautionary measures I need. But like this is a livelihood for us, This is a livelihood for some people that's seeking and just still trying to establish. So it's like I'm willing to do whatever I gotta do. If they say they're gonna play, like I'm gonna take one of them offers. But if not, like we gotta try to see what we can gauge in the place until then. But that's why I just been doing this coaching and training and just establishing the business until they really have a good understanding of what they really want to do. Because that's why I asked you about your lead. Like I've been starting to look at your lead and look at the team. It's like, man, like all right, they look like they playing. Like man, I go out there for 200 euros, 100 euros. I just want to play. you know.
Okay. How often you throw when you're in the off season? How often do your own work?
Uh, right. As far as right now, I just do my own work on the weekends. Like I don't really. I'm big on myself and like really not burning out sometimes. Like just overtraining. You just training. Not just saying like you can't get something done every day, but like rarely like once I come off the season, like what I throw, I probably wouldn't throw for like 2 months until like I really like coming off of decompression. I might still be working and stuff like that, but I wouldn't like just throw because like when you really do start to work, shit, you might be throwing 50 to 100 passes a day in certain aspects. That's bad. It's not bad for your arm, but if you ain't really taking care of that shit, that can really begin to grow on your elbow, create that contusion, create that stress and stuff like that. And this is always me knowing that I never had a strong arm and how I already throw. It's just like I never wanted to be that burnout and stuff like that. But it's like I just try to take my time, like just throwing here and there, and that's like until I know I'm about to get ready to go. Like my last 3 months into wherever I have to report, like I'm throwing nonstop. But three probably months prior before that, like I'm not throwing. I'm just throwing like periodically,
At
not
this
too
point
much.
in your career, what are you trying to like improve on still the most in your game?
Uh, I mean, just being able to analyze defense, still be efficient as I have over the years, and you know, just stand afloat to what's going on, to how more sophisticated defenses are getting, and that's just like for me, like just having that ability for me, just understanding defense has been able to allow me to just keep achieving, and that's what I'm saying. As certain quarterbacks, as I talk to my quarterbacks, I'm like, when you wonder why this guy is good but not succeeding, is probably because of that off the field thing. And the off the field thing is reading defenses, analyzing, understanding what they trying to do and what they trying to stop you from doing, or wondering why you're not on time making this throw or making that throw. But it's just for me, just staying afloat, man, staying upon my knowledge, man, just steady learning the game, never stop learning, honestly. Because, you get to different points, you get old, you just trying to see it through. You ain't never trying to get better and seeing what you can get better through yourself and just what you can learn new. So it's just like for me, just steady learning, never staying satisfied, beyond anything. Because I feel like I'm still 25 or anything. So I'm going to go at it like I'm just coming in as a rookie. So I'm fresh. It's nothing like I don't know everything. So just obtaining whatever.
Quarterback, champion, three-time MVP, played 5 seasons overseas, going towards a sixth one somewhere soon. Quarterback Chris Jeffrey. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, bro.